And there we say in linguistics, words are divided into picture producers and non-picture producers. Which one of those two words is a picture producer? Toaster. Toaster is a picture producer, and job is not. Why isn't job a picture producer? Too wide, too abstract. Let's just try it in a practical way. How would you illustrate, how would you do a picture of job? Well, you could show someone raking leaves, or, do you rake leaves here? Someone, well, okay. I come from the leaf raking part of the world. And, okay, you could have a picture of someone digging in a garden, and that would be a job. Or someone washing dishes, that would be a job.
We do that.
What?
We do that here.
Do you wash dishes or dig in gardens, or both?
Wash dishes.
We wash dishes, okay. That's a job, but you'd still have the dishwashing activity itself. You'd have the dishes, you'd have the person who is doing it. And so you couldn't extract. In other words, that picture would not command the word job. It would command so many different words, you couldn't get job out of it. So a picture producer is a word that produces an actual picture. Many of these words are physical objects. Not all of them, but many of them are physical objects. Yet, which of those two words is actually used more frequently? Job. And strangely enough, which one of those words is used earlier? Job. I mean, you don't say, do a good toaster for daddy. We start using the word job quite early on, and yeah, so we do. And so toaster and job. All right. Truck and trouble. Which one of these words might play a more significant role in the life of a 3.5-year-old boy? Trouble. Boys are going to be in trouble. And so truck is the picture producer and trouble is not. Yet, of these four words, we've already established that both of these words are more frequent, used earlier, and play bigger roles in the lives. Yet, which of these four words are we going to see on a communication board? You're going to see a toaster and a truck, and except when I do a seminar on picture producing, I don't say the word toaster very often. I saw the word toaster at my hotel this morning when I was eating breakfast. How many of you have not said the word toaster this morning? Okay. I have a former student here from the University of Pittsburgh. Wonderful to see you. And sometimes in my class at the University of Pittsburgh, I ask students to draw a picture of a non-picture producing word that's usually taken from the most common 200 words in English, and I cut some of them up on a piece of paper and we put them in here and we sort of shake them around, and then you draw a picture. And the pictures the students draw for those words, they show to a colleague, and then they show to the group. And no one has ever gotten a picture that anyone has been able to guess. And so that shows you, gives you a little bit of experience in how difficult it is to draw a word for a picture producer. One year, and I think it was a year you were there, one graduate 4th semester, a master's level speech language pathology student came in, and her husband was an engineer, and she was obviously proud of that. And she said, my husband, an engineer, said, you're full of pancakes, and it was real easy to draw a picture for the word you gave me. And I said, okay, well, show me the picture. She told me what the word was. And the picture actually showed a military vehicle. with cannon, with all these things going in and out and around it. And then it showed a car. And the car had an arrow going up and then dots like this. Can any of you guess what that picture was? Well, we showed it to everyone, and people said, "Don't you get it? Don't you get it? It's thank you." Yes, so even engineers can err. So it is very difficult to draw a picture of any. It's very difficult to draw a picture of mine. It's very difficult to draw a picture of some. And yet these are all words in the top 25 words used by toddlers. And we are led away from them because we have in our idea not a linguistic model, but an iconicity model or a picturability model. We want to put things that are concrete and easy to represent. And so and this is both scientifically justified, that it's easier for kids to learn and remember things that resemble what they're symbolizing. However, that whole way of looking at things tends to angle us away from language and its structures. Okay. A toaster can be unambiguously illustrated by a picture, but job cannot. A truck is easy to picture, trouble is not. The majority of words in a sentence are not picture producers. One word in the following sentence is a picture producer. Which one is it? Dinosaur. I went on a trip and saw a dinosaur. Now, dinosaur is the one word from there that we're likely to see on a communication board. And one reason is that we don't see the others is that they're so hard to picture. I mean, how do you picture went? And for instance, how does one, we think we can picture on. Because you could draw a square like that with a thing on it. But folks, that's not the majority of, that's not what on means for most of the time we use it. As in on a trip, or the guide talked on and on about picturability. Another example of this is the word up. I mean, it's on all the early vocabularies. It's a fairly early word, not as early as on, and we show it with an arrow going, up. And we're pretty sure that we've taught that word or that concept, and we're very happy with ourselves. But sometimes the concept is not exactly what happens to that word in language. Let me clear this up. I'll start off by saying the majority of times we use the word up. It has nothing to do with the direction of upness. And by the way, kids have a hard time understanding what an arrow pointing up means. There have been some studies about this. Kids have to be told and taught that. But what does up mean? You want to straighten up the room? I'm sure many of you put on very light makeup this morning, didn't you? Maybe not. If you've had a bad fight with a good friend, what's one of the things you want to do? You want to make up. And you've been a naughty child and you told something that wasn't true, and your teacher said, you made up that story, didn't you? Your students are pretty fragile. If you tell them to shut up, they're liable to shut down. You see, what I want to say here is that you see how widely we use up. Yes.
when you take you put your glasses down,
Uh-huh.
but actually you put them up so that you don't put them down and scratch the glass.
That's right. You put them up. Yes. I mean, not only are these terms oddly ambiguous because we deal with three-dimensional objects in the real world, but we use, the majority of times, up is used. Like shut up, you can still see shut and up. How many of you were taught in French the phrase fermez la bouche? By the way, that term is unknown to the French. That is a creation, a fabrication of American school teachers. If you say fermez la bouche to a French person, they will not know what you mean. The French expression is tais-toi, which can only be translated into English as accurately translated into English as silence you, or silent you. So when you say fermez la bouche in France, they are utterly clueless as to what that means. It's called a calque, in which American teachers tried to speak French, and they wanted to say shut up, and so they said fermez la bouche. And it's one of those. It's a wonderful kind of study, but at least with shut up, there's an idea of moving our jaw up. But for quite a few of the cases of up, in fact, for the majority of cases up, it has nothing to do with the directionality up. But don't we think we've taught the concept up when we've shown this arrow? Well, we have not. Language goes its own way and uses words for very different purposes. Okay. Fewer than 5% of words used in any activity by toddlers are picture producers. Concrete graphics can only be made for picture producers. More than 90% of core vocabulary words are not picture producers.